I'm Harry Smith in New York. There is new concern about the economy tonight following a report which showed the number of jobs in the U.S. dropped by 4,000 in August, the first monthly decline in 4 years. That news rattled traders on Wall Street. The Dow lost nearly 250 points. Anthony Mason is here to make some sense of it all. Good evening.
Good evening.
The big deal about this is they anticipated more than 100,000 jobs would be added last month. They lost 4,000, and what is that people talking about?
Well, it's a big surprise to start. It had a lot of economists uttering the R word today, recession. These job numbers are the most worrisome sign yet, Harry, that the housing slump and the mortgage crisis could take the entire economy down with them, because people worried about losing their jobs don't spend money. And we lost 22,000 construction jobs last month. And right before we went on the air tonight, the largest home mortgage lender in this country, Countrywide Financial, said it's going to cut up to 12,000 jobs. So the fear is this may just be the beginning.
Now, what about interest rates? Because if this is real, has the plate been set for an interest rate reduction now because of these kinds of numbers?
A lot of people are saying sure thing. The Fed meets on the 18th. The betting now is not whether the Fed will cut, but by how much. And more people are starting to say could be as much as half a point, Harry.
All right, Anthony Mason tonight. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, there's a big money settlement involving clergy sex abuse. The Catholic Diocese of San Diego has agreed to pay $198 million to 144 victims. It is the second largest payout of its kind. Earlier this year, the Los Angeles Archdiocese agreed to pay $660 million to settle 500 cases of sex abuse. Back in custody tonight, Norman Hsu, the political fundraiser who donated hundreds of thousands to Democratic candidates while still a fugitive. He fled California this week after missing a court appearance related to his felony theft conviction. He wound up getting sick on an Amtrak train in Colorado and is being held in custody at a hospital in Grand Junction. When we come back, the shocking twist in the case of a missing toddler in Europe, why her mother is now being called a suspect. There is a disturbing development tonight in the case of a British toddler who went missing 127 days ago. Police in Portugal have now named her mother as a suspect in the disappearance, and family members say she's been offered a plea deal. Mark Phillips has the latest on the mystery involving young Madeline.
The face of a 3-year-old girl has been haunting Europe for 4 months. Madeleine McCann vanished from a hotel room in Portugal one evening last May while her parents were having dinner nearby. Kate and Jerry McCann stayed in Portugal, vowing to keep Maddie's name in the public eye.
She is so special. Please, please do not hurt her. Please don't scare her.
Devout Catholics, they met with the Pope. Through a website, celebrities offered a $2 million reward. But the Portuguese police, accused of bungling the case, found no leads, and relations between them and the McCanns soured. Now, in a shocking development, Kate has been declared an official suspect in her own daughter's disappearance and possible murder. Madeleine's blood, police say, was found in a car the McCanns rented 25 days after she disappeared. A McCann family member even said the police offered Kate a plea bargain. Admit you accidentally killed your daughter and hid her body, and you'll only get a 2-year sentence. Jerry McCann called the allegations ludicrous. The McCanns had wanted to keep Madeleine's name in the news, but they have become the story themselves. Mark Phillips, CBS News, London.
And we have learned tonight that First Lady Laura Bush will undergo surgery tomorrow to relieve pressure on pinched nerves in her neck. The problem prevented the First Lady from accompanying President Bush to Australia for the Asian Pacific Summit. At that meeting in Sydney tonight, leaders called for a joint action to reverse climate change. This, as new research by scientists here, has dire implications for the future, particularly for polar bears. The scientists said today that with Arctic sea ice shrinking rapidly from global warming, more than 2/3 of the world's polar bears could be gone by the middle of this century. One scientist said as the sea ice goes, so goes the polar bear. Katie will be back from Damascus with some final thoughts in a moment.
Back now from Damascus. Finally tonight, after a week in this region, one can only conclude that Iraq is a country where conclusions and solutions are as elusive as 24-hour electricity.
Mr. President, welcome to Anbar.
The president's last-ditch effort is a bottom-up strategy.
Thank you.
In the absence of a strong Iraqi government, U.S. and Iraqi forces hope their continuous presence will keep extremists out and win the confidence and loyalty of the people, one neighborhood at a time. What's his name?
Muhammad.
It seems to be working in Anbar province thanks to an alliance between tribal leaders and U.S. forces forged in the face of al-Qaeda's brutal tactics. But this is a Sunni area without sectarian anger seething on the street. And how can you give power to the people when there is no power? Can Iraqis even begin to support a government when the business of just living leaves them exhausted and hopeless? Like so many others, this family gets electricity only about 4 hours a day. Their running water is spotty too. It's hard to help your country, this mother told me, when you're just trying to survive. And even with improvements in security, will the Iraqi army and police ever be in a position to step up so the U.S. can stand down? Will the enmity between Sunni and Shiite only intensify? Will Shiite militias, in their quest for power and influence, continue to terrorize the population while their biggest sponsor, Iran, waits in the wings? This would not be the first place you would take U.S. troops out.
This should be one of the last places.
If a troop reduction happens, will a bloody civil war ensue, turning the entire region into a powder keg and threatening moderate Arab leaders? At water coolers and dinner tables, Americans will continue to discuss and debate what should happen now, as will Congress. There will be those who argue this is an ill-conceived, badly executed war, and there's no option but to withdraw troops sooner rather than later. And others who believe the U.S. must go the distance to establish a stable, democratic Iraq for the future of the region and the future of America.
You cannot move forward politically without security.
Can the seeds of democracy flourish in Iraq, or will they be uprooted and overwhelmed by the nefarious forces that seem to lurk behind every corner of this country? No one can really predict how this history lesson will end. Let the debate begin again. And that's the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching this week. I'll see you Monday. Until then, have a great weekend. Good night from Damascus.